Hello and welcome to Trilet Online Tutor. I'm your host, Otto Leonard. Today we'll be looking at the cell process and maintenance. This is bgcse biology. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start by looking at the objective that you are expected to achieve as a student. So here are the objectives that you need to achieve as a student. So you can pause the video and read the objective for yourself. So before we start, there are some terms that you need to know. You need to know that when we talk about cell in biology, we are talking about the basic unit of life, or the smallest thing that is living on its own. So there are photomicrographs. These are photographs that are taken from microscopes. And when we talk about stains and dye, we are talking about those things that are used to make part of the cell or structure to be more visible. So you also need to understand that when we say animal cell, we are just generalizing that. That is, there is no such thing as animal cell because we have different kind of animal cell, right? Like the red blood cell, white blood cell, liver cell, nerve cell, and so on. So as you can see here, that is a generalized animal cell, but it is not circular. So here is just a sample, right? So the animal cell may be like this or something like this. So it continues to change. So it does not have any regular shape. So let's quickly look at the parts that you need to know. We have this part, we call it cell membrane. What this part does is that it allows substances to get in and out of the cell, right? So things that are needed are allowed to get in, and things that are not needed inside the cell are allowed to get outside, right? So this is the cell membrane. So we also have the jelly-like structure, this one, right? This kind of blue, we call it the cytoplasm. So with the cytoplasma, many of the chemical reaction of the cell are taking place here. So as you can see that other parts of the cell are floating on it. So most of the reaction are taking place here, right? So we also have a place where there's a production of protein, right? So this site where protein are made, we call this ribosomes. This is the place where proteins are made, stored, and transported, right? This little dot, don't confuse it with this big one, right? So we also have where there's a production of energy, where respiration is taking place. We call this part mito, mitochondria. We call it mitochondria, right? So this is where aerobic respiration is taking place, so that the cell can get energy, so that it can grow, right? We also have this part, the black part. This part control all activity of the cell. We call it the nucleus, right? What the nucleus does is that it contains DNA in form of chromosomes, right? So all instruction comes from the nucleus, right? So let's now look at more details of this part of the cell. Here the function, the cell membrane, it is specially permeable. When we say that it's special permeable, is that allows some substances to get in and does not allow other substances to get in. But if you look well, there are some substances that can move freely, right? When you look at the water molecules, they can get in and out of the cell freely. Now let's look at the function of all the parts that we mentioned. Now we are starting with the cell membrane. The cell membrane is partially permeable. It is a thin boundary enclosing the cytoplasm. You can see it here. This thin line, right, is enclosing the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is this blue-like, call it the jelly structure. So the cell membrane controls all substance that enter into the cell, right? So it mainly controls oxygen, right? So in food we can say the amino acid. So it controls, you can say, amino acids that get in and out of the cell, right? So let me remove this water here. So water can move in and out of the cell freely. So you have to know that amino acid, oxygen are needed by the cell, so they are allowed to get in. And substances that are allowed to live, right, include the likes of carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide is dangerous, right? So after it has been produced from the aerobic respiration, it has to be removed out of the cell, right? So some of the things that are allowed to leave the cell include useful things like hormone and enzyme that may be needed by other parts of the body. The cell membrane also prevents cell contents from escaping. That is, it holds all other parts of the cell together, right? So you can see that nucleus and other parts, they are being closed by this cell membrane. So the cell membrane, it also separates cell from one another, right? You can see that we are able to see that individual cells because of the cell membrane. We are done with cell membrane. Now let's quickly look at the cytoplasm. It is a jelly-like structure with particles and organelles in, right? So they are floating in the cytoplasm. This site for chemical reaction. Many chemical reactions are taking place here, and this reaction helps to keep the cell alive as they provide energy. The cytoplasm also contains dissolved salt and sugar, lipids, protein. So for your general knowledge, you have to know that belong to the previous slide, right? So this is the other name for cell surface membrane. So cell membrane, you can call it cell surface membrane or cell plasma membrane, right? So make correction for that. Another part we are having is a nucleus, plural nuclei. It is a circular or oval structure containing DNA in form of chromosomes, right? In simple, nucleus control all activities of a cell, like growth, cell division, cell development, cell repair, type of enzyme produced by cytoplasm. So that's why we say it controls all activity of the cell, right? Also, the nucleus determines what cell will be, whether it will be red blood cell or white blood cell, muscle cell, and so forth. Now, we are having mitochondria, singular mitochondrion. These are the small elongated organelles with folded inner membrane, right? Set for aerobic respiration. And we also have the ribosomes. This where proteins are made, right? Proteins like digestive enzymes and hormone. Also, the protein are transported from here and stored here. And now we can look at the plant cell. So other part that we discussed for animal cell, the function are still the same. So the difference with the plant cell is that we also have the cell wall here, and we also have the chloroplast, and we have large sub cell subvacuole, right? So let's quickly look at the function of this part, additional part. You have to know that the cell wall contains the cellulose and other compound. It is non-living and it allows water and other dissolved substance to pass through it. It is not selective permeable, that is full permeable, unlike cell membrane, so things can pass easily. It also gives the cell its shape. It also protects the cell from bursting, right? The cell subvacuole, it is a fluid-filled space mainly made up of water. It contains mineral salts and sugar. It helps to keep the plant cell firm. It contains dissolved amino acid. It also takes in waste product and water. Chloroplast, it contains chlorophyll that traps light energy for photosynthesis. It is a site for photosynthesis, process which plants make their own food or they make the glucose, right? This additional information when we are making a drawing, right? Like maybe the cell, you have to be able to calculate the magnification or the inverse of any of this one, right? So if this one, let's say, is 20 and what you see on microscope, let's say, is 5, you know that you're going to say size of the row is 20 and you divide by 5, that's 4. You're going to say 4, that will be 4 times, right? So that's all. This was just a quick reminder for cell process and maintenance. So for any further information, you can contact us on the detail provided. So you can check more videos in our Facebook Trialite Online Tutoring. Thank you. So we will on the next video we'll be looking at cell specialization.